What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Before we get started, I wanted to share some exciting news. We have our first ever merch drop put together with the help of teespring.com. You can check the link in the video description if you want to pick any of the stuff up. We've got our TPG logo on a bunch of different things. We've got hats, we've got some hoodies, we've got sweaters and shirts, we've got a bunch of different stickers on here. We've got face masks, there's coffee mugs, there's some GST and some GSX stuff on here. And one of my all-time favorite things is the 4G63 Iron Block Survival Bag. This is actually a little zipper pouch that fits perfectly in your glove box, or you can leave it in the hatch. If you want to declutter the car, you want to throw, like I do, a couple of spare 10 mils, a 12, or a little ratchet and a screwdriver, and have it tucked away just in case you may need it. This is the great little bag that you can keep it in. Keeps it nice and organized. These things are nice and tough. The zipper's strong. It's not going to fall apart on you in a week. Check it out again at teespring.com/stores/today's project guide. And that's it for now. We will update as soon as we can with some more 1G stuff and some other cool designs that are coming out in the coming weeks. But let's get into today's episode. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today we are actually getting into, well, you can probably tell what we're getting into from the thumbnail. We are going to be removing our budget coilovers, and I'll explain why once we get out there. But we've got ourselves a nice new set of KYB Excel G2 struts, and we've got brand new KYB mount systems for it. We've got ourselves some new spring insulators. I only have 2 at this second, but I got 2 more showing up in the morning. We're going to do the fronts today. We also have some refurbished mounts because I was an idiot and threw out my stock suspension when I put the budget coilovers in. So basically this stuff is a huge kit that I put together. I searched all over the place trying to find a decent set of struts and springs and this and that, and I don't want to have stock ride height, so I went on Amazon again, and I actually found, I'll put all the links to all these parts in the description, by the way. I found a nice set of 1.3 inch drop springs. These are heavier duty than the OEM springs. They don't give it as much of a drop as I have on my car right now with the coilovers, and there's not the adjustability factor as far as dampening goes and the camber plates. I'm not 100% sure either, but I might be able to take the camber plate pillow ball mounts off the coilovers and put them on here if I wanted to. But for today, we're just gonna go ahead and throw these bad boys together, get this all put together, and we're losing a little bit of daylight, so it might get dark quick. But anyway, we're gonna go out there, throw these things on, and hopefully have a better ride quality, because over the last few months now, those shocks that I put on it, the coilovers, those things were great for the first probably 8 to 10 months. But usually what I do, well, what I did last year was I raised the car back up about an inch during the winter months, because it's my daily. I have to drive it 365 days a year. And this year I went to go out and raise the car up an inch, and it was pretty rusty looking in there, and 2 of the locking collars were absolutely seized, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. But right here I got a bunch of parts. I've got my spring compressor tool sitting right here. I'm going to go ahead and start putting all these together, and we'll get out front and jack the car up in the air, get the old ones out, and start installing these bad boys. Alright, guys, so after a little bit of wrestling with these things, I've got the front 2 done. I've just got to tighten up the nut on the top that goes through to the strut rod itself. One thing I did not really care for on these KYB brand bump stop and bellows, the dust shield here, is it kind of binds up at the bottom. It's a little bit too big on the inner diameter to fit perfectly in that spring, which I think I'm just going to snip it with some scissors or something and kind of try to pinch it closed and force it down in there so it sits straight. I'll see if that works. I'll show you if it does. If it doesn't, it's a tiny little 1/4 inch gap. But so far these things are all put together. Oh, let me show you some stuff here real quick. The aftermarket is pretty good for all these parts. These top mounts here that actually bolt to the car, I picked up on DSM classifieds because I threw mine out. These came in covered in mud and all rusty looking and nasty, so I sanded them down real good, hit them with some primer, hit them with some nice black gloss, and these things look factory new. So I'm happy with that. The studs, I had to take a dye and go down on them, thread chase them basically, but these things are looking pretty nice. So what I did was I picked up the KYB suspension mount kit, which is part number SM5091, and I got 4 of those. I've got one for each corner, and if you notice on top, I just have a regular flat washer right there. There's some special components that you're supposed to order for these, and if you have your stock suspension still, obviously hold on to these pieces. I threw mine out. Under here, I don't know if you can see it very well. Yeah, there, that silver ring right there, that is the washer that came in the KYB box, that little box I just showed you. And what I did, there's a part, it's called the cup, and it's supposed to sit atop the bump stop here. And those things I think were like 10 bucks a piece, and you had to order them, and shipping's crazy right now. So what I did is I used the mount washer, put it on the bottom here, and that actually fits on the rod. There's a little step in the rod, and that sits on it. Then I used the rubber bushing number 1, and I put on top rubber bushing number 2, along with this steel sleeve that goes over to kind of hold these washers separate from one another. And then I just put the nut on top with this bushing right here. So obviously I saved a few bucks doing that. I don't think this is going to hurt anything. It doesn't look like it's going to move around. It can turn side to side and not bind up or anything, so I'm fine with it. I'm going to go ahead and finish tightening up the nut on the other one, and all you have to do is basically just tighten that nut down as far as you can get it. You can hold right here. I think that's a little 1/4 inch or something smaller. Put a wrench on the top, use a wrench on the bottom, and tighten it up as far as you can go, and you're good to go. So this is going to drop the car, like I said, 1.3 inches as opposed to the 2-inch drop that I put on it already. Honestly, if the weight on the car makes them sit a little bit lower, I'm fine with that. Alright boys, we're out here. It's only like 6 o'clock at night. Well, in the afternoon. Summertime, it'd be beautiful out. It'd be bright. These little lights that I got out here are definitely worth the money now. I've got them sitting up. I've got my little Astro pneumatic light sitting here. What I'm going to do is crack these lugs free on this side. On the other side, I'm also going to do the rears and get it prepped for tomorrow. I'm just going to go around the car, crack all the lugs free. I'm going to try to get these front ones swapped out tonight, and then we're going to come back at it first thing tomorrow. So let's go ahead and get after this. I'm going to stick you guys off to the side, and we're going to go ahead and swap out some struts. Mind you, it's a really simple job. We're taking out 3 of these on the top, and there's the 2 bolts that are holding in the strut to the knuckle on the back down here behind the wheel, and we'll get these old broken ones out, well, new broken ones out, and I guess we're going to go from there. But let's get after it, guys. Okay guys, we've gotten our first front wheel off. This is on the driver's side, and I just wanted to give you guys a quick explanation as to why these are coming off. If you can see, I went to raise these up a little bit, and this ring is actually seized, and the threads on the inside of it are bent. I got it to start to turn, but shavings started to come off of it, and I tried to do this a couple of weeks ago, but unfortunately I learned my lesson with the anti-seize, or never seize, molybdenum disulfide grease. Always put the never seize on these bad boys if you're up here in the rust belt, and you hopefully won't have to deal with what I have right here. Let me see if I can get you a little close-up of how packed the threads are. There you go. You can see those things are destroyed. I tried to hit them with the Evapor-Rust, never seize, and sandpaper, not sandpaper, wire brushes, grind all the crap out of them and see if I could break them free. It wasn't going to happen. So no more adjustability as far as ride height goes, and they rusted up pretty solid, so they're coming out. We're going to put some drop springs in. We're going to lose the adjustability, but we're also going to gain a little bit in ride quality, because these things, they just started to wear out really fast, and I guess that's what you get when you buy budget. So like I said before, these things were great in a pinch when my stock struts were completely gone. These did what I wanted them to do, but We're only about 15 months later, I believe, and they've already kind of given up the ghost. So these KYBs are tried and true, so I'm confident that they're going to last quite a lot longer than these, and hopefully it'll be the last time I have to change suspension components on this thing. After giving the pinch bolt on the bottom a little bit of heat, we've got our 3 upper nuts taken off each one of these studs up top side, and we've got the adjustment, or the bolt down here out of that fork. There's only one bolt, there's no nut. It's actually threaded straight through. I just heated around the base where it clamps on and gave it a little, what was it, WD-40 penetrant or PB blaster, some sort of lube in there, and it popped right out. So now all we have to do is compress, or actually extend the suspension just a little bit, and we're going to see if we can work that out. I'm actually going to go ahead and throw one nut back on the top 3 in the strut and pull that tight, and then I'm just going to push this whole assembly down until that pops out, and hopefully it should come out pretty simply. I may have to take off the lower nut down below to take that entire fork off. We'll see how it goes. Alright boys, so after about an hour of messing around with this thing, we've got the new one put in there. Everything is nice and mounted, and something cool that I did notice that I want to share with you is, if you recall the coilover install, back when we did that, let me see if I can get this light set up so you can see, connecting right here to the bottom, when you clamp the strut in to this little fork, it was a total pain in the butt to get this coilover to fit. But these KYBs actually have this neat little feature on the bottom of them. Let me show you. If you look, right down here, there is a little notch where the bolt slides through, and this little T-looking shape fits in that space on the back side of that fork, and these actually just fit right in there perfectly, nice and easy, whereas these ones, we had to take some of the paint off and do a little bit of spreading work to try to get these in there. They were really, really tough to get in. I do remember that. But anyway, out with the old. You can see more in depth now. The rust is just, it's everywhere. It's chewed up onto this collar here. The threads are just destroyed. You can see where I got some of it cleaned off and where I didn't. The top of these actually started to break. The rubber that's on the inside of here is all split and cracked and sticking out a little bit right there. You can see, like I said, they were good for the short term, but in comparison to the new ones, you can kind of see they're a little bit longer. And if you look close, where the height difference is here, where it's stepped down, there's like a little thin spot where it steps down. Right here's where you would mount the other one, and this collar is like the depth that you have to slide this into that fork. If you look on this one, let's see, you can kind of see it just sticks out the bottom there. You can kind of see on the bottom there's like a really nice looking weld around it. Well, anyway, but I'm going to call it a night for tonight. We got the driver's side knocked out. I got the top all put together. So I'm going to go ahead and put all these tools away and come out here in daylight first thing in the morning. And we're going to knock out the passenger side and the rear. The rears are easy. Oh, also, I totally forgot, but on our cars, if you see that sway bar link nut right in the center of the screen, that's connected to that fork. So that had to come out too. That was something else I forgot about. Yeah. I'll see you guys in the morning. So we're back here. It's decent out. A little bit of snow fell last night. Very, very small amount of dusting. But we've got the driver's side all knocked out. Now we're going to work on the passenger side front, which is the other more difficult one. The rears are simple as hell. We've got the new strut and lowering spring sitting right here, all put together. This one's ready to go on. These two are both the rears, and you'll notice that the dust shield is not on there. I know that. We're going to rip out this wheel right here. We are going to take off our sway bar end link. from the fork. We're going to take out the upper bolt and the lower bolt on that fork that connects to the control arm, and hopefully it's as easy as the other side was. I guess I'm going to get cracking, guys. I'm going to stick you out to the side. Let's get her done. So I've got all the bolts disconnected. Took out the sway bar end link on the top of the fork, took the bolt out of the bottom of that fork, and I wanted to show you this little trick I figured out. I'm sure you've had to take and drop your lower control arm if you swapped your struts before or changed your components. Like I told you yesterday, these are very tight right here, and the KYBs actually fit directly in this fork with a little bit of space. You actually have to tighten that bolt a lot more to get it to pinch. These are on the fatter side where the KYBs are on the thinner side. But what I've done to get these out, I don't know if this will help you or not, is I brace this against the brake caliper, and I can kind of show you there where it's not going to hit the hose. And all I did was take two of these and get create like a little fulcrum on one of the points and just start prying. And then once I got the gap wide enough, you can actually flip the two of these together. Oh, give me a second. See that? It's starting to come right out. There we are. Woo! Now this is free. We didn't have to worry about dropping the control arm to pull that fork out and around. Now we can just take the 3 bolts out of the top, and we can actually remove this strut, and installation of the new one is pretty simple. These ones, like I told you before, we had to basically press those in with the jack. We had to get them lined up, get the bolts in, and then jack the car's axle up to kind of pinch the two of those together. We don't got to do that with these ones. These ones fit nice right in there. And before I put those back on, I'm going to go on the fork with this wire wheel and just clean a little bit of surface rust out, re-lubricate it, hit everything with some brake parts cleaner, and then we're going to keep it going. Alright boys, we got this thing all put back together on this side. I got the bolts all in up top, fluid filmed everything. Here is the other old coil spring, and you can see the rust has absolutely killed it. I know never sees or anti-seize will help out a lot, but this ring, you can actually kind of see there's a little bit of a bend right here where it's been taking impact. So, and the let me see if I can hold this up with my feet. This top mount, the bushing inside of that is absolutely smoked. It's completely floppy. That is both fronts done. We're gonna lower the front, we're gonna get out to the back. Well boys, we're at the rear. We got the back wheel pulled off, and I guess cleaning off all of my hardware before I put it back in is paying off, because these 17 mils are just bolted in on the back side of right here. That's it for the bottom on the back, and then just the 2 bolts in the top where it mounts up there behind your let's see if I can get you a shot. Yeah, those 2 bolts right there to the left and the right of that post, and then your rear strut, or shock rather, will fall right out. We are done. This is what she looks like now. It doesn't look like it really raised up too hell of a lot. I mean, it's, I don't know, I'd probably say maybe a ½ an inch higher than it was before, so we didn't quite get the 3/4 to an inch that we were expecting. It did sit down just a little bit lower, but we've got our brand new lowering springs and KYB struts finally installed. Everything is good to go. I'm gonna start this thing up here in a minute, get it warmed up, and take it for a drive for the first time with working good new suspension. So that was a fun one. Thanks for coming along with me, guys. I guess until next time, don't forget to check out teespring.com/stores/today's project guide to pick up some of the merch we just launched. It's been a fun one. We finally got this done in the middle of winter. I can't wait to go for a nice cruise to work today and hopefully not hit any little bumps that feel like big bumps. That was kind of the main issue there. So thanks for coming along, guys. All you new subscribers, thanks for joining us. Check us out on Instagram at Today's Project Guide if you want to follow us along with some sneak peeks and early access to some stuff. We post a lot over there. A lot of parts updates, a lot of project updates come up over there. We do we're going to start doing some unboxings when we get some new parts in. Overall, it's just the quicker platform to check us out on the daily versus YouTube, which we try to upload at least 3 or 4 times a month. Whew, sorry, I'm out of breath, boys. Thanks for joining in. You guys take care. We'll see you next time.